Okay, so this is for long-term collectors. One of my things is do not put all your eggs in one basket. Okay, so I'll give you an example. When I was younger, started collecting. This guy that I knew, or well, my dad knew. Um, he went ahead and he put his life savings into buying a bunch of baseball cards, older baseball cards. Okay, now what happened was maybe like a little bit over a year later, all that money that he invested in these cards, just everything just started dropping, like dramatically dropping. So $100 cards are like $10 cards all of a sudden. Just prices just dropped so dramatically. Basically, he ended up opening up a shop. He had to shut it down and he had to sell his stuff super cheap just to get some kind of money back. Now, he took huge losses. And one of the things I remember him saying was he wished he didn't put all the eggs in one basket because if he had expanded, he could have taken that loss and still had other stuff invested. But it just obliterated him because he had all that money invested in something that he thought was going to do well, and it just didn't. And one of the things is he did not do research. If he had done his research, he would have noticed that the prices were just slowly dwindling down because it wasn't as popular as it used to be. So if he had looked at the comment or the card price guides at the time, he would see that they were slowly dropping, which is a good sign, of it, staying that way. And again, that's why research is kind of important. Um, so when you go to do long-term collecting, aside from hobbyists, it's all another thing. But if you're long-term collecting for value and just making money later on in the future, you kind of got to figure out and decide. And you should see some of this in research. What's going to maintain its value? What might has the possibility to increase? And also be prepared. No matter what, you're going to have some losses. I had some losses. Um, One of the things that I ended up picking up was a case of these Warrior Nun action figures, and the comic guy was all excited about and stuff, and it was based off some comic or whatever. Um, so I bought a case of them for 50, $60, I can't remember, and he was selling action figures for like $10, and he's talking, man, they might go up to $50, $60 a piece. You never know. Well, I recently went to look at the prices of them, and you can find some for like $5 or $6. As old as they are, they never went up in value. They actually decreased. So I could pick them up brand new, $5 or $6, same action figures. So it wasn't really a big loss, but if I had put all my money into that particular type of stuff, I would be in trouble. Now I did invest in some Star Wars figures, older ones, way back, and they went in price, but I kind of knew it, with research and everything. Uh, some of the safe stuff as far as long term, something like Star Wars. Star Wars is just continuously going to always go up because of that fan base. Walking Dead, always going to skyrocket in value and stuff. So if you're able to ascertain what is more likely to maintain its value and not drop, then you're off pretty good. But it's one of those things where there are some things that I held on to for about 10 years, and then I should have sold them after 10 years, but I didn't pay attention to uh, or I stopped my research on those particular items. So they hit their peak, and some things can hit a peak and then they just start dropping in value and stuff. And so that's what happened a couple of times with some things that I had invested on. So I've taken some wins and I've taken some losses. Now, one of the things I was a little iffy about, I started doing years ago. I bought a case of Oh My Goddess anime action figures. Okay, now as you can see, I love my anime, but so Oh My Goddess action figures were special edition or something. So right off the bat, I'm like, all right, cool, limited edition special. So I bought a case, sealed up case. All right, put it to the side. A week later, the guy who had sold it to me, he was like, hey man, do you still have those action figures? I'm like, of course, yeah. He's like, well, I could buy them back from you for this amount of money, because he's like, they're really hot right now on online and stuff, and it's one of those things like I bought them for long term because I was hoping that anime would skyrocket and boost up, and it has. It has. From what I've seen, it slowly started increasing. In all the research I had done, I figured it would keep increasing in value. So I told him like, nah, I'm going to hold on to the case, and all these years later, those action figures I can sell them probably about $300 or $400 a piece, and there's like 12 or something inside the case or whatever. So it's one of those things that because of research and because of just getting the feel of that particular thing, I knew in the long run that it would maintain its value if not go up, and it went up. So that was a win for me. But again, it's if you're gonna do long term, I would say be careful with what you pick. And even though something is that you start getting into, you want to buy something that's collectible, um, and you want to hold on to it for a while. Keep an eye on it every once in a while. Check up and see the prices and the values to see if the prices are maintaining, because there's a possibility that what you're collecting will hit a peak and then just start dropping. It's no guarantee. So just bear in mind that kind of stuff. That long term is great, but it's risky at the same time.